Okay, so I decided to redo the review. The review between Genesis and the Boss. These two. So, I think I did crappy last time. Some people didn't agree. I just didn't have the experience. I probably still don't, but I know a lot more than I did then. Opinions have changed. So, might as well do it again. Alright, so, starts out, I have the Yo-Yo Factory, Genesis, signature Miguel Correa, and Yo-Yo Factory Boss, signature of Augie Fash, who just quit, sadly. So, yeah, those two yo-yos. They're really different. First to start off, you can see that Genesis is a little bigger. If I can line it up good. Yeah, Genesis is barely bigger. You can tell the difference in, the shape. I forget which shape. I don't know if that... I haven't researched in so long. I even did a research paper on yo-yoing, so I should know this, but I just haven't looked in so long. Let me hurry and get that knot out. So I don't know what shape they are. I think the Boss, people correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Boss is a round shape. And I think the Genesis is an H shape. So, you can take a look at them. Tell me what you think. So, Genesis, if I can turn my hand the right way. That's what that one, and the Boss. So, this one's a little more rounded in the middle. You can see this one has the bigger H shape to it. This one has slight H shape, so I don't know if it counts, but you never know. So, first off, I should really try. This has stock bearing in it. Has the stock bearing, Yo-Yo Factory stock bearing in it. And my Genesis has the 10, actually right now has a trifecta bearing in it. Switch those. Unless I stuck the 10 ball back in. I don't think so. No. So, yeah, Genesis has the trifecta bearing. And I can't really compare those, I guess. That probably wasn't fair of me before in my other review to compare the two when it's two separate bearings, when that bearing is an upgrade to that yo-yo. Because when I stuck the trifecta on the Boss, it completely changed how it played, and it just dramatically, it improved it so much. And so I'm guessing if I take the 10 ball off of this one, it's not going to be as good, obviously. So it's not fair for me to compare the two that way. So I guess just based on coming with the stock bearings like they were when I first got them, because I didn't get the 10 ball bearing for a long time for it. Each yo-yo has its own feel, and then they're sized differently. So let's just start with that. So obviously this one's smaller. There's a groove inside each one. This one's easier to grind with. This one is harder. I can grind with it though. And this one's smoother. Like if you try and grind, put your finger there, it's going to be really smooth. It's bigger. It throws differently. It's like I said, when you throw it, it pretty much rolls off the string versus dropping off the string. Even though if you throw a yo-yo and there's no grip on it, the string uses the grip to, actually roll off the string and give it its speed and momentum and stuff. And without the grip, it's just like being on a bearing, and all that's going to spin is the bearing. You're just going to hear it whoosh, and it's just going to come out. And it's just going to die like that. So, this one, it grips it really weird, and it literally just like, you throw it, if you throw it sideways, or let's say you throw it frontways, you're going to throw it normal. And instead of it throwing down in front of you, straight down, it'll swing back behind you. It'll still be unrolling, the yo-yo will still be unrolling from the string, and it'll be behind you. And versus the Boss, it will, you throw it, and it'll come down in front of you. It'll come off the string, and then it will swing back automatically because you threw it forward. It's going to swing just like the other one. So basically, this one comes off the string later, versus this one. Just because it's the type of yo-yo it is. It just rolls off the string versus dropping off, basically. That's what I call it, at least. One is a lot bigger for your hand. The Genesis is bigger for your hand, and it's solid. When you get this thing, if you have a nice bearing in it, and you bring it back right after you throw it, watch out. It hurts like crazy. It snaps back. It's super fast. You throw it down and give it your hardest throw, and then you might forget you threw it that hard, and you hurry and bind it. It'll come back and just like blink of an eye, just come smack your hand. If it catches too fast, it'll catch that excess string, and it makes a knot, and it will just jerk back. It's that where it hits it so hard that it bounces back to your hand, and it doesn't roll up really fast like it's supposed to. So, I know when I stuck the trifecta bearing on this one, it did the same thing. You know, so just bearing quality has differences. Between the two, you know, I could hurry and just test them really quick again. You know, just give you my right now opinion. This one has a stock bearing on it. Too lazy to change it, sorry. So, it's really smooth at first. You know, it drops off before it even reaches straight up and down, versus the Genesis, which is off the string back there. So first it hits the string, and it's almost like the Y factor, one drop Y factor, where you throw it, and it's a weird feeling. As soon as it hits the bottom of the string, it's like it disappears in weight. It seems really light. And it binds really good, you know, but that's one thing I've noticed with this yo-yo, the Boss, is just if you bind it wrong, if it catches a little too much string, it's really mean about it. It'll say, oh, well, you screwed up. You know, you suck at binding, so I'm going to suck at coming back up. And so you just have to get used to finding a sweet spot. Everybody said I had a sweet spot, and I never thought, you know, any of my yo-yos had a sweet spot. You've seen my other video about binding. Each one does have its own sweet spot. You just have to bind right. And I wasn't binding right. I was just, like, let's see if I can do it. I was just doing this and snapping the string. And I could just try for hours and it would never come. So, it's just getting used to binding. And each one has a sweet spot. And anyways, this one is lighter. It's more, actually I wouldn't say it's more floaty. It is floaty. It's faster though. Like, you could probably use it a lot faster than the Genesis would go. It still comes back really snappy to your hand, and I screwed up binding, so it snapped at my hand again. You know, gotta find perfections on those. So, that one was, I think, faster. The weight disappears as soon as you throw it. It's just like a speed one. It's just for fun, basically. I don't view it as anything more than just for fun. I don't view it as my best one. I don't view it as crappy. It's a really good for fun yo-yo. Whereas the Genesis is one you can just hear the quality in it. You can feel the quality. So much different than all my other ones. It's really snappy all the time. It's just a really nice yo-yo, and you can feel the weight at the end of the string. It's a solid yo-yo, and it's really well balanced. I think first with my stock bearing, threw it down as hard as I could when I sucked at throwing, and I tied it to something on my ceiling, and it slept for 8 minutes. And that was with stock bearing. I think it's just because it's more balanced. You know, the rim weight's better. It's all these different factors going on to it. Whereas the Boss, when I was learning, really hard to keep it angled right versus like it'll tip on its side. And this one is more solid and balanced. It's a little bit bigger, heavier, so it's good for that. It's more floaty since it's bigger and heavier. But I really like that slow feeling, and it's bigger, so it's easier to land all your tricks versus the Boss. The Boss is just, they're both unique, you know. You just have to find the one you like. If you like big floaty yo-yos that are easier to do tricks on, if they're more solid and stable, then get this, the Genesis, Yo-Yo Factory Genesis. I don't know if they'll even be selling this yo-yo by the time everybody watches this video because Augie Fash left Yo-Yo Factory. But, you know, if you want a yo-yo, really lightweight. It doesn't feel light, but as soon as it hits the string, it just, like, the weight disappears. It's weird. Weirdest feeling. It's more so like that in the Y Factor, I felt, but, you know, whatever. It's faster, it's not as floaty. Don't make fun of my tricks because I'm just showing you guys basics. So, I don't know what else to say about it, you know, whatever your preferences are. Fast and it's harder to use. Like I said, it's not as balanced as great. It's just a really smooth, fast, light yo-yo that's just fun to use. And the other one's just solid and easier to use. And it's just, this one is like meant for the counterweight. I forget what all the different things. I think 5A, I don't know. I think 5A is what it is for counterweights. So that was, I like it better for that. It's really solid and weighty, and you know, if I had to choose between the two, I view the Genesis as, you know, the competition quality yo-yo, even though I don't do anything competition-wise. I don't like yo-yoing in front of people. I don't like doing anything much like that. It's kind of embarrassing. You know, it's hard enough to yo-yo in front of my family, and I enjoy yo-yoing. You know, it's a stress reliever. It's a good way to pass time. It's just fun. And if anybody, you know, has anything against yo-yoing, it's, if you don't like it, then don't do it. But I don't know why anybody wouldn't like to. You know, some people view it as, oh, that's what geeks do, this and that. But, you know, if you want to see like the original yo-yoing, get a looping yo-yo, and just, that's what people view as yo-yoing. But most people don't know that there's a whole different world of yo-yoing out there right now. And just all the different types of yo-yos and just how cool it is. But then some people, I don't know if they're jealous or if they're just, you know, trolls, haters, whatever, just say, oh, well, I can move a piece of metal around on a string. I'm cool. Well, yeah, that's, I don't even know what to say to that. It's just ridiculous that somebody would think that way. It's more than that. It's fun. It's, if anybody's yo-yoed, then you know what it's like. So, I don't know what to say. If I had to choose between those two, I really like the Boss as just a fun yo-yo. I really like it just in respect to Augie Fash because he was one of my inspirations. And the Genesis is, it's really nice. It'd have to be my favorite yo-yo out of all the yo-yos I own. I don't use it that much. I like to learn on, because the Genesis is kind of like a handicap. It has my nice bearing on it. It's really stable. I'd say it's my handicap yo-yo, my really easy one to use. Spins a lot longer, more stable, more easy to catch tricks. It's easier in every way, basically. And all my other yo-yos I use just all the time. I don't, like, I use my Pop Star when I yo-yo just because it's smaller, harder to land. It's just, you're constantly practicing, trying to improve upon yourself, and I use the Genesis just to really just when I want to show off, I guess, to myself, because I don't do it in front of anybody. It's just when I want to cheat and use my really nice yo-yo. I think the Genesis cost me a lot more with everything in it. It was like 120 bucks for the version I got. Boss was cheaper, I don't know, like 80 bucks maybe. I don't remember prices. Maybe it was 90. Price-wise, there are a lot of yo-yos that are better than higher-priced yo-yos. But, yeah, if you wanted to choose between the two, you're probably not going to get a chance now because Augie Fash left. But if I had to choose between the two, definitely go with Genesis as my favorite because it's really nice quality. It's just nice. I don't know how to explain it, you know. Boss is just a fun yo-yo that's good practicing if you want to improve upon yourself. And it has its challenges and difficulties. Just so does the Genesis because it's bigger, harder to throw, harder to control angle when you're throwing. I finally got used to throwing it. So, every yo-yo has its challenges. Every yo-yo is different. It's just your personal preference. So I hope I helped. Hope it improved upon my old review. I haven't even looked at it. I don't want to. I'm scared to. So, yeah.